Enlightenment, don't know what it is.
Darkness to light, you are not alone. In part 1, I ended my talk saying that you will face a crisis on your journey to enlightenment. It's the crisis of letting go of what you think of yourself. It's a crisis of giving up or surrendering that false idea of yourself. But this is the cost of your enlightenment, to be open to the unknown. And that can be very fearful, scary in fact, and threatening. A threatening situation to the ego that has made a lifelong investment in being a certain way. Fear is one of the many obstacles commonly found in people. People have a fear of the unknown. They fear that life will fundamentally change if they know themselves directly. They fear they won't be able to tolerate their job or their spouse or their family and friends because of the change that's going to occur. Have you experienced this? Have you experienced that fear awakening in you if you go any further down the path of truly deepening your knowingness of yourself? Your fear that life will be different. In facing that fear, you might even go crazy or you might die. And possibly even worse, the fear of being wrong. The fear that all the suffering that you've been through, all the suffering that you've held on to in your life was in vain. They know. The birds know. The fear that all the judgments about yourself and others have been wrong or misplaced. It's not easy to admit to yourself that your life has been lived as a mistake, or that your way of being in life has been unacceptable, shameful, or disappointing to you and to others. This is the crisis of identity, and it often comes as you get closer to the enlightened state, as you get closer to knowing yourself, to knowing the truth of who you are. This is not the only crisis or obstacle that you may face on your journey of enlightenment. There are many. Obstacles can be mental, they can be physical, they can be emotional, or they can be a combination of all three. And it's important to recognize that you cannot avoid these obstacles, but you can get through them. This is not the only crisis or obstacle that you may face on your journey of enlightenment. That is the fear of the unknown. There are many. It's important to recognize that you cannot avoid the obstacles, but you can get through them. In the scripture, folklore, literature, and the myths of the world, heroes and heroines find their way through the obstacles to the promised land. Historically, Buddha did, and so did Jesus. The Greek gods Apollo and Hercules did. The Tibetan Buddhist known as the Mad Princess, Lakshmanikara, she did. The Taoist goddess of mercy, Wan Yin, she knew. She faced those obstacles. And in modern times, Neo, the hero of the Matrix, he did. So did David Hawkins. So did Eckhart Tolle. And so have thousands of participants of the Enlightenment intensive process. And you can too. Sometimes it helps to know that others have walked on this seemingly lonely and treacherous path. If you look, you can see their footsteps and the path that they created before you. And if you listen intently, you can hear their voices echoing. Keep going, they say. Keep going straight ahead. Ignore the distractions. Ignore the bliss and the pleasure. Ignore the fear and the loathing. The mind is the great seducer. Keep dancing until it rains. You are not alone. Thank you for listening.
Enlightenment, don't know what it is.